Thought, give it a try. It's live below the poverty line. Here we are once again. We're going to now take some of our pieces, Second Amendment, our political discussion and conspiracy, and a lot of the other stuff, the 1%. We're going to try to tie them a little bit more firmly together so you can kind of get an idea of what's going on. We're now into, I would say, a nasty kind of, to do it simply, a nasty kind of a conspiracy, but yet it's a power struggle between the ones on top that are battling each other for pole position for a little piece here and there versus us on the bottom taking the backlash of it. It's so corrupt. Our system is so corrupt. And it's the worst kind of corruption. It's one that has no head. There's nowhere to point the finger and go, yeah, that's the one, or these people are doing it, or that. It's just such an elaborate machine of people pushing against each other, trying to do their own benefit, it's not even aware of its own self. And to unweave all that is virtually impossible. So either they're going to kill each other up on the top, fighting for each piece until one remains, crushing the rest of us here on the bottom, or we're going to rise up and say, that's enough of this shit, we can't take this no more. One of the two factors will have to play a part, but that's where we come into it, and that's where, if you were to have that rise thing, that's where the Second Amendment comes in, the upper 1%. If you were going to say, I would say the crown jewels. If the jewels are the 1%, then the government would be the gold crown that wraps itself around it. Okay, it's so that it's a design failure kind of thing. I believe somewhere down the line that when most people get into a political position and try to do something, they actually want to try to do some good. That's why some people stay at a lower level and just stay there forever, because there's no going up, because some of the stuff in order to get there goes against their own personal, thoughts and ideas, and it would be ethically wrong for them to do it. But unfortunately, you have to self-corrupt yourself in order to get to the higher ranks to do good, and by the time you get as far as you get, you've already owed so many people so much, and you're already corrupt by the time you get to the top, that you no longer have the ability to try to do good anymore, and you make these attempts and you try these ideals, and I want to give you guys a nice far-fetched notion in itself about the people behind the curtains. You've seen their faces most of the time. They just really don't have many names, but they're always sitting there in the back. They'll be there during the president debates. They'll be down there during those White House conventions. They're always floating around, making sure things go exactly as smoothly as it's supposed to go. And even these politicians themselves would sit there and tell you that they don't even read their own laws, and they corrupt them with earmarks. And if you actually watch this stuff, you can see it. They'll do it right in front of you, and that's the sad part. They're actually literally saying, hey, listen, and I'll cut it for you pretty simply. We're going to fuck you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And they're pretty blatantly doing it. They're at the point now that they're not even bothering to cover anything up anymore. It's just kind of like, you know what? You guys couldn't do anything then. You're definitely not going to do anything fucking now. So, you know what? We're just going to show it to you. Fuck it. What are you going to do? You guys are so enwrapped in your own personal lives that you could give two shits about anything, and we'll keep you nice and medicated with, antidepressants and everything else, so everything seems like it's all happy, but it's not. They want to keep you all ignorant. They want to keep you in check. They just want to keep you in check. And while you're sitting there not paying attention to what's going on, they're just going to keep nipping around these constitutional laws and this stuff and start telling you what you can and can't do. It's a slow process, but it does get there eventually as you drop deeper into ascension. You know what I mean? It's the only way to control a large group of people. it's the only way to control a large group of people, because technically a large group of people always has the upper hand if they were collectively on the same run. But they need to keep us all nice and divided and fighting amongst each other so that we could never fly out under the same banner and try to retake what was once gone. And they're just hoping that we'll slip into this little fucking coma, this little drug-induced coma, and just sit back and just let it happen. And by the time they get the real restraints on you, it's too late to turn back, and you've lost most of your rights, and you no longer can do this and that. And by the time you can turn around and do something and go, oh shit, it's too late. You're already bound and shackled, and we're all going to be united together, only chained together on the bottom, which is a sad thing to think about. But if that's the way the dissension rank is supposed to go down slowly, that's the way it would go. You know, they'd be invisible chains. You wouldn't be able to physically see them, but they would restrict you from a lot of stuff that was once had, and they're hoping that it washes over from one generation to the next generation. It's a long-term, thought-out plan for control, especially when you formed your country based upon freedom itself. So it's very hard to just drop it down to that level that quickly. So it has to be done slowly and slowly and slowly, mashing against a corrupt system that has no end and no beginning, and nowhere to find anywhere to start cutting to say there's the problem, because it's just too much of it, and it's almost too far gone. You couldn't refresh it. You couldn't. There's nothing you could actually put in place with the smartest minds to pull out of this like little tailspin that's about to happen. Because down here, it's not going to be good for any of us. It's just going to be a collapse, and we're underneath the bridge, not on top of it. All right, that's the thing you need to think about. So it's 1%. It's control. It's about chipping away at your rights. It's about how far the political system has actually gotten now, that it really doesn't matter who's fucking in there, because the control is already fucking in place. It doesn't really matter. People are actually feeling it. They don't know why they feel it, but they know it. It's like, it don't fucking matter anymore. And that's exactly the way they want you to think. It just doesn't matter anymore. So sit back, relax. They're going to take care of everything for you. They'll tell you where to eat, where to sleep, where your level is. Hell, maybe they'll give us a little tattoo mark. Who knows? I believe there's still some good people in there, somewhere down in that system. And I know they're looking around and going, this is like unrepairable. And hey, thanks for trying, but it's been moving along for quite a long time. And it's slow. It's slow. It's generation washing. We right now will probably never see it in our time frame, but we're going to see a good close beginning of that lower drop before we exit this world, I'm sure. And then it's our kids' that are going to probably wind up paying the ultimate price and not actually know it, because they'll already be born into the invisible slavery that's already been preset for them through their media, the mobile devices, the whole internet thing. It's all there. It's all in place to give you control and force decisions based upon what you see and know. Things are cut up. Life is a bunch of edits. That's all it is. Because if you watch the entire thing from beginning to end without any stops, cuts, or edits, you might actually start to understand a lot of stuff that you see in TV and movies and all that stuff. It's just that. I can take any person out there, follow them around for 6 months, videotape everything they do, come back to an editing room and show you two different people on a screen. I can show you the guy who's like the greatest guy in the world, or I could show you the most pit-stained piece of shit on the planet, and just by using, because I got all the information, now I can slice it up to what I need for my own devices. So that's another kind of control by altering your mind state because you're not actually seeing what's actually truthful. So in that self, it's already been a falsehood. So, with that being said, let's just hope it doesn't come down to either wire, because there are two to three different other possibilities that could lie in place here. Like I said, they could be up there eating each other until one remains, because absolute corruption is absolute, and up there, somebody getting more than the other doesn't fly. You know what I mean? It doesn't fly with them. They will kick you out of the ring and get another one that looks just like you. Well, that was Live Below the Poverty Line. We're going to talk on a different subject next time to broaden a different spectrum of what I was trying to say before and previously in other videos, is perception and why you can't believe pretty much a good majority of the information that we've ever received. So we're going to go into that, where we've already been preconceived notions such as, like the ride of Paul Revere and the reality of that. Everybody knows what the real history is on that. But that never changed, and it hadn't changed for years until we started digging into stuff later on. But we held that it was definitive. And I'm going to show you where examples of how we were spoon-fed a lot of these false realities and to believe in them and create a perception of something that wasn't really there. And that's what we need to get into next time. So that's Live Below the Poverty Line. Check out my older work if you haven't caught up yet. I'm also got my own, a couple different sites besides YouTube and Twitter. Come on there. Like I said, looking forward for anybody's questions. I can go in there. I'll slice it up, dice it up for you, and we'll do our best to get you a proper answer. Until next time, we'll see you below the line.